There's been on the blogs, at one point you were engaged to Kelly Rowland, correct? Of Destiny's Child?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, and there she has a new song coming out, and you had to go out and basically clarify and clear your name of whatever she was saying in the lyrics. Is there anything you can say about that and to our audience?
No, there really isn't much for me to speak on,
Kelly Rowland's past is storming back into the spotlight, and the internet can't stop buzzing. Former NFL player Roy Williams has just dropped a revelation so explosive, it's forcing everyone to question everything they thought they knew about Kelly's most heartbreaking story. For years, the world believed Kelly's emotional and soul-bearing track Dirty Laundry was her confession about Roy, her ex-fiancé. The lyrics painted a picture of a woman who had been emotionally and physically broken by love, and fans were convinced Roy was the man behind it all. That belief became gospel online. But now, Roy himself is stepping up, and what he's saying is rewriting the entire narrative. In a stunning turn, Roy has denied ever laying a hand on Kelly Rowland. He's calling out the rumor directly and saying the truth everyone ran with wasn't the truth at all. And if Roy wasn't the man Kelly was singing about, then who was? That's where things start to twist. Roy didn't just deny the accusations. He dropped hints that Kelly had multiple exes around that time, and one of the names being whispered in the background? Jay-Z. Yes, Jay-Z. Suddenly, what was once a simple heartbreak story has turned into a tangled web involving one of the most powerful couples in the music industry.
I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
For years, quiet whispers have followed Kelly and Jay-Z. Rumors of a hidden connection that predated Beyoncé. Long before the world crowned J&B as hip-hop royalty, some fans claimed there was tension, secrets, and maybe even history between Kelly and Jay. Now that Roy has cleared his name, those whispers are roaring back louder than ever. People online are revisiting old interviews, analyzing lyrics, and piecing together clues that might suggest Kelly's dirty laundry wasn't about Roy at all, but about Jay-Z. The theory goes like this. Kelly Rowland, young, talented, and vulnerable, was part of Destiny's Child, one of the biggest girl groups on the planet, mentored and managed by Beyoncé's father, Matthew Knowles. Jay-Z, already a major star and industry heavyweight, was always close to the group. He collaborated with Destiny's Child, appeared at events, and had direct access to the girls during their rise to fame. At that time, Kelly and Beyoncé were barely out of their teens, and Jay was already a grown man with power, influence, and a commanding presence in the industry.
It's a pain that you couldn't understand.
It changed you, turned you into a monster.
When Dame was at his lowest, Jay committed the ultimate betrayal.
I had so much trust in my brother, but he did things that I thought he would never do.
It's the kind of dynamic that has raised red flags in the entertainment world countless times before. A mentor figure on one side, and a young artist searching for approval on the other. So when Kelly released Dirty Laundry, fans began to hear something much deeper in those lyrics. She sang about being mistreated, emotionally controlled, and torn apart, all while living in the shadow of her superstar best friend. And that's when the theories began to form. Dirty Laundry wasn't just a song, it was Kelly Rowland's emotional purge. She revealed her pain, jealousy, and a deeply personal story of abuse and betrayal. The song's raw emotion made it one of her most powerful records, but also one of her most mysterious. She never named the man behind her heartbreak. She never confirmed who the he in the song really was. For years, everyone assumed it was Roy Williams, until Roy spoke up. Now the puzzle pieces are being rearranged.
Single Dirty Laundry, I'm so glad that she was able to open up and really she almost gave a piece of herself. You know what I'm saying? That is big of her. She was so honest.
If Roy wasn't the man who hurt Kelly, then who was powerful enough, close enough, and important enough to inspire a song so personal, so coded, and so painful? Fans say the answer might have been hiding in plain sight. Let's rewind to 2021. At the premiere of The Harder They Fall, cameras captured a moment that set social media ablaze. Jay-Z greeted Kelly Rowland, and the way he lit up when he saw her had everyone talking. His demeanor changed instantly. His smile, his body language, everything about that moment felt charged. People said it didn't look like friendly family energy. It looked like something else. Something more familiar. Something that carried history. Comments flooded online, dissecting the moment frame by frame. One viral post even said that Jay-Z looked at Kelly like he just saw someone from his past who still meant something.
Wanted those stories for years. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that people wanted those stories for years, and that's just so sad on them because it's not like that.
Was it just old friends reconnecting or something more? The internet didn't stop there. It began resurfacing another layer of speculation, Kelly's son, Titan. For years, fans have pointed out the resemblance between Titan and Jay-Z. The comparisons have been relentless. Side-by-side photos, facial structures, even smile similarities. One comment that went viral read, "Why does Titan look like Jay-Z and Blue Ivy had a twin?" That single line reignited the entire conversation. Could it be possible that Jay-Z wasn't just a mentor to Kelly, but something far more complicated? Kelly has always been open about living in Beyoncé's shadow. During her time on The Voice Australia, she admitted that being in a group with Beyoncé was difficult. Not because of jealousy, but because of constant comparison. She described it as an elephant in the room, something that was always sitting on her shoulder.
I pretty much said what I had to say, and people were like, well, if you really didn't do that, you shouldn't have had to say anything. Well, to me personally, yes, I do, because one, I'm a Christian,
Right.
and first off, I don't condone. I had a foundation for 2004 all the way to 2010, maybe.
But what if that feeling of being overshadowed wasn't only about fame? What if it was personal, emotional, and deeply intertwined with betrayal? Imagine being best friends, almost sisters, and then finding yourself in a situation where your mentor or love interest turns his attention to the person closest to you. That's not just heartbreak, that's devastation. If the whispers about Jay-Z and Kelly have any truth to them, it adds a whole new layer of tension to the Destiny's Child story, one that could explain the emotional distance, the silence, and the subtle shifts fans have noticed over the years. This isn't the first time Jay-Z's name has been entangled in controversy. For over a decade, a man named Reimer Satterthwaite has been claiming to be Jay-Z's son. His mother alleges that she had a relationship with Jay when she was only 16, and that Jay has refused to take a paternity test ever since. Reimer's story has been buried under endless legal battles. His team accuses Jay-Z's lawyers of using every trick in the book to block DNA testing.
What do you think happened with Kim
Keeping
Paul?
people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane.
From procedural delays to sealed filings and courtroom maneuvers. According to Reimer's side, this isn't about money, it's about truth. Because if Jay-Z truly is his father, that would confirm a much darker reality, that Jay was involved with a minor. That revelation would shake not just Jay's reputation, but the entire foundation of his empire. And this alleged pattern, powerful man, much younger women, is exactly why the Kelly Rowland theory refuses to die down. Let's look at the timeline. Beyoncé was born in 1981. Rumors say she and Jay-Z started dating around 1998 or 1999. That would make Beyoncé 17 or 18, and Jay-Z 29 or 30. Around that same period, Destiny's Child was exploding in popularity. Jay was always nearby. Collaborations, appearances, and industry events kept him within reach of the young group. And during those early years, Kelly and Beyoncé were both still minors when they began traveling and touring under the guidance of Matthew Knowles. In his own words, Matthew once revealed that something deeply inappropriate happened on one of those early tours. He said that while Destiny's Child was on the road with Jagged Edge, two members of the group allegedly harassed Beyoncé and Kelly. At the time, the girls were just 16, while the men from Jagged Edge were in their early 20s. Matthew claimed he received a late-night call from the girls saying they felt unsafe and didn't know how to handle it. As their manager and as Beyoncé's father, he acted fast, removing the men from the tour immediately. The incident caused chaos behind the scenes, but his priority was to protect the girls. Neither Beyoncé, Kelly, nor Jagged Edge have ever publicly confirmed or denied that event, which only keeps the speculation alive. If situations like that were happening around Destiny's Child, it raises unsettling questions about what else may have been happening behind closed doors and who else may have crossed lines. Kelly Rowland has always carried herself with grace. Even in interviews where she discusses her struggles, she speaks with calm strength. She once admitted she tortured herself mentally trying to forge her own identity outside of Beyoncé's shadow. She confessed that for years she felt unseen, as though the world only viewed her in comparison to her friend. But fans have long speculated that her silence about her abusive ex wasn't just about protecting herself. It might have also been about protecting someone powerful. In 2023, Kelly finally admitted in an interview that the man who hurt her was still powerful and active in the industry. That comment alone sent the internet into a frenzy, because the list of men who fit that description and who were close to her is very short. When Roy Williams decided to speak up, everything changed. He had been quiet for years, letting the rumors swirl. But now, he's decided enough is enough. In an interview, Roy stated clearly that he was not the man Kelly described in Dirty Laundry. He emphasized his Christian faith, his respect for women, and his history of community work, saying he would never condone or commit abuse. Roy explained that he felt compelled to clear his name because the story had damaged his reputation for too long. And once he did, people began to reevaluate everything. If Roy wasn't the abuser, then Kelly's story suddenly pointed somewhere else, and the trail led straight back to Jay-Z. The more you look at the overlapping timelines, the connections, and the silence, the more this story begins to look like a carefully hidden chapter of music history. Kelly lived with the Carters at one point. She traveled with them, performed with them, and was practically family. That level of proximity makes the idea of a private entanglement less far-fetched than people once thought. And if there really was something between Kelly and Jay before Beyoncé entered the picture, that would explain why the energy between them changed over the years and why Kelly slowly distanced herself from the spotlight. Because when you connect the dots, the silence starts to feel like protection. Jay-Z's name has surfaced repeatedly in stories about relationships with much younger women, from Foxy Brown to Beyoncé's early years to Reimer's mother's claims. Each time, the pattern looks eerily familiar: a young, talented girl, a powerful older man, and the silence that follows. Supporters say these are unrelated anecdotes stretched into a narrative. Skeptics counter that the recurrence itself is the narrative, pointing to the way proximity, mentorship, and access can blur boundaries behind closed doors. If the theory about Kelly is true, that she was another one caught in that same web, it paints a disturbing picture of power, control, and secrecy inside the entertainment world. It also reframes Dirty Laundry as more than a breakup confession, potentially a coded account of coercion, image management, and the price of staying close to the machine that builds stars. The recurring themes fans highlight: isolation, manipulation, professional gatekeeping, are exactly the tactics survivors often describe when power dynamics are uneven. But while fans connect these dots, it's important to note that none of this has been officially confirmed. Jay-Z, Kelly Rowland, and Beyoncé have never spoken publicly about these specific allegations. Still, the internet never stops investigating, and the more people dig, the more questions arise. There's a reason this rumor won't fade. Kelly's Dirty Laundry remains one of the most haunting songs of her career. The way she delivered those lyrics, the pain, the honesty, the raw emotion, it didn't sound like fiction. It sounded lived in. And when she described the man as someone who was powerful, connected, and part of her world, fans instantly began comparing those details to what they knew about her life at the time. Even years later, Kelly has never revealed the truth. She's never named the man, but she also never denied the speculation outright. That silence speaks volumes to the internet, which has now turned the mystery into a full-blown investigation. Every time new pieces of this story surface, the online reaction is explosive. Comment sections flood with debates, theories, and emotional takes. Some people believe the evidence is overwhelming, that the timelines, the lyrics, and the behavior all line up too perfectly to be coincidence. Others argue that it's unfair to jump to conclusions without hard proof. But one thing everyone agrees on is that the situation feels unresolved. There are too many unanswered questions, too many silences, and too many strange coincidences for this story to disappear quietly. Through it all, Kelly Rowland continues to rise above the noise. She's built a successful career, raised a beautiful family, and remained one of the most respected voices in music. From chart-topping solo moments like Motivation to acclaimed TV appearances and film roles, she's consistently proven she's more than a headline, she's a force. She's also stepped into mentorship and hosting with ease, guiding new talent while balancing life as a mother to her 2 sons, and doing it with poise that never feels performative. Her ability to maintain dignity amid decades of speculation speaks volumes about her character. She's answered invasive questions with disarming calm, redirected narratives without feeding the frenzy, and set boundaries that protect her peace. Even when the industry turned her personal life into a puzzle for public consumption, she leaned into grace, pouring her truth into music, into interviews on her terms, and into work that feels intentional rather than reactive. At the same time, Her openness about growth, about therapy, faith, and healing has resonated with fans who see themselves in her resilience. She's navigated career reinventions, shifting soundscapes, and the weight of comparison, yet she keeps choosing artistry over spectacle. That's why people keep rooting for her. Still, fans can't help but wonder, has she been carrying a secret this entire time? Has she been protecting someone who never protected her? And if so, is silence her shield or her sacrifice? So now the question belongs to you. Do you believe Jay-Z was the mystery man behind Kelly Rowland's dirty laundry? Could he even be the father of her child? Or is this just the internet weaving together half-truths and coincidences into a story that never existed? Because one thing is certain, this theory isn't going away. Roy Williams clearing his name only opened the door wider, and the more people talk, the more it feels like the truth is hovering just out of reach. Maybe Kelly will tell her story one day. Maybe she won't. But for now, Dirty Laundry remains one of the most cryptic songs in R&B and one of the deepest mysteries in pop culture. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you think Kelly was really singing about? Was Jay-Z the man behind the pain? Or is the internet seeing patterns that were never there? Either way, this conversation isn't over. Stay tuned because the truth always finds a way to come out.